And then, Peter, is this, do you know if there's been any other?
I think it's the first German-English Māori edition ever published simultaneously, and in a sense it's like bringing it home to have it, to be here and to see it published here, so that's very special.
Rauru being an exquisite example of a tradition that has survived 3,000 generations of Pacific voyaging, and yet we are able to present the photographs right alongside it in a complementary way.
And I guess also to continue on with what Hirini is saying, the idea of Māori having horizons that are in the international sphere beyond their tribal boundaries has been something that has been a reality for Māori for many generations, especially since, for example, James Cook came to New Zealand in the late 18th century. So we've had Māori entrepreneurs, Māori business-minded people perhaps engaging in the wider world in Australia and then on toward England. So thinking about the relevance of the international context for Māori survival and development. So here we are, I suppose, we're in Germany. We see an opportunity here too to broaden our relationships here and better understanding amongst peoples. And with understanding and relationships, anything's possible.
I think also we're isolated in the South Pacific, but that isolation is also an advantage, and that's the way in which we engage in relationships may well offer opportunities for German people to think about how they engage in relationships after being so caught in the commercial sphere of Europe, and maybe Māori have something to offer, a different way of doing business, a different way of engaging with other groups of people that's not just built on national boundaries. When we look at global economic transnational corporations, one of the big shifts has been towards creating a sense of tribe within or corporate culture, and more corporate cultures looking towards indigenous cultures and how they manage their internal structures, which we've been practicing for thousands of years, and provides a very efficient social and political mechanism sitting behind economic redistribution of wealth. So this exhibition maybe provides the opportunity for Germany to reflect on its way of doing business and how social relationships may well be a very important aspect to their own future.
This is really just a small step, a small beginning through the exhibition. You can achieve so much, and you need a lot more, which is, we're talking about here, building relationships, and that's people. The images are a window into people and culture, but really it's the face-to-face dialogue that's going to be important. So we need to be here, and you need to be in New Zealand.
We've had people from Germany visit our village for over 100 years. The whole reason Rauru is here is because of German people fascinated in our culture and wanted to take something from our culture back here. But only now can we provide the tools of interpretation of what that really means to the German people, rather than having a German anthropologist try to explain our culture. For the first time, we now provide German people a direct insight into how we think and display our own culture.
I think there's that too, but it's also not necessarily about, well, what can Māori teach Germans, or what can we show German people how, in terms of how they do their business. German people, any people, will do their business in their own way, but it's more about looking at what we have in common. I think it's what we have a dialogue. What is it that we're both trying to achieve? It's the idea of mutuality, the idea of relationships and partnerships that are shared amongst all peoples. So that's not anything especially Māori, it's more of a human principle. So I think that's what needs to be emphasised.
I think it's both the historical sort of the authentic original Māori culture, but also the tensions and the interactions that exist today, because I don't know that it's that extensively reported, and the fact that Māori have a role, and a very influential role, which is changing the nature of New Zealand society, is very interesting. But obviously there's a strong sort of ethnographic base, if you like, so we've found that, in my previous publishing also, there's been a lot of interest with whether it's carving or traditions, dance, integral matters relating to the culture, but also, I guess, in a contemporary setting, language preservation or issues of political enfranchisement.
Up to today, the wider public of the world have thought of Māori as wearing grass skirts and doing dance, doing haka or living in grass huts. These pictures will show that on occasion we may get dressed up, but for most of the time we are just like anyone else in the world, but we live in twin streams of culture, not just one or the other. So we integrate the core values of our ancestors with living in a modern global society, so be it in the South Pacific. So that is the challenge for the visitors, is, as Hirini said, to be open-minded and see Māori not just a primitive peoples in the South Pacific that are just good at song and dance, or rugby.
They can also get the book. To prepare for the exhibition, they can get the book.
Buy the book.
There's pictures and there's words, and it's in German, and it's in English, and it's in Māori, so that might be helpful.